Welcome to the Palm Beach International Academy podcast series. I'm your host, Matt Sachs, and today's topic, Meet the Tutor. And the tutor we're going to meet today is Wynn Lewis. Wynn, thank you for joining us. And our first question here, tell us about yourself.
Well, as in terms of teaching and tutoring and my academic background, I taught in a traditional classroom. I taught at a boarding school for about 6 years. And then after that, I sort of moved to teaching at a community college I think I was there for 8 years. And, I really enjoyed that sort of teaching. And thankfully, the class sizes were really small, both at the private school and even at the community college level. I think the most people I had in a class was 21, which is incredible. But I really, I really love teaching the one-on-one sessions with my students, because you feel like you get such a rapport with, you get to know who your student is and what their interests are. So that really helps you figure out a way to make your subject interesting for them, not just in general, but for that kid.
Now, Wynn, for those who don't know you, what subjects do you teach? And maybe explain what makes you stand out as a tutor? What do you do to be as effective as possible?
So I teach English and social studies. Social studies usually sort of is a catch-all phrase. It covers anything from traditional history courses to government or economics, and then a lot of fun history electives. And I was a big literature nerd all through college, all through high school. But surprisingly, and I love to write. But surprisingly, I love teaching the social studies a little bit more. I don't know if I should admit that, but and I think part of the reason is we're living in such an interesting time. In terms of you can't escape politics, but in terms of COVID, ever present in our lives today, that so much of teaching social studies has to do with the world we're living in, and we're living history. So that makes teaching history particularly exciting right now.
Well, and that's sort of my last question. What do you look forward to most this school year? And it sounds like teaching, living history at this point. What's your take?
Yeah. Well, I think we've got a couple things in terms of subject matter, in terms of my teaching, looking forward to the fall semester. And I've got a couple students who've already started here in August. Is that COVID, the sort of public health crisis we're involved in right now, it is uncertain and it is trying, but I think being able to talk about it objectively with your students and in terms of historically how it fits in, we've had pandemics before and we're still here. And, it's also exciting, we've got a pretty hotly contested election coming up in November. So that also makes teaching American history and teaching government really invigorating, because students, whether or not they're old enough to vote themselves or not, are certainly hearing about it. And I really like being able to help them understand what is going on in the news. What are the headlines that they're reading and what do they really mean?
And thank you for taking the time to join us on Meet the Tutor on the Palm Beach International Academy podcast series, and have a great school year coming up.
Great. Thanks a lot.